Now, COVID and the effort to isolate ourselves from exposure to the COVID virus has brought us an opportunity to move more slowly from one activity to another.
Welcome to another episode of What the Foot. We have here Dr. Greg Lyon-Loftus, a longtime personal friend, colleague, a triathlete partner, and physician, Dr. Greg Lyon-Loftus.
Hello, everybody. Most of my friends and patients call me Dr. Greg because I'm married to Dr. Diana Lyon-Loftus. I would like to share with you a few observations that I have made during the years that I've worked with Stephen, and it has to do with his awareness of himself as a physical person. He's constantly talking about the way in which we walk on our feet and move with our hips and use our shoulders, and I have learned to pay more attention to that.
So with this COVID-19 that's happening to us now, what do you see the changes has taken place in our daily lives? And what are your recommendations for people that are active, that want to be active or want to remain active?
Well, the first thing, of course, is that COVID has interrupted our busy lives. 2 months ago or 3 months ago, we might have been rushing activity to activity, place to place, thing to thing, and not paid any attention to who it was that was doing those things. We did not spend much time becoming aware of ourselves. Now, COVID and the effort to isolate ourselves from exposure to the COVID virus has brought us an opportunity to move more slowly from one activity to another. And I'm encouraging you to use that opportunity to become more aware of yourself. What is your level of fitness? Can you stand up out of a chair without using your arms? Can you feel your weight on your feet? Can you stand on one leg? Do you stand up straight? Is your head on the middle of your shoulders, or is your chin forward and down, or do you slump? Just by paying attention to these things, you will find yourself wanting to be more the way you think you should. You'll lift your head up, you'll walk a little more gracefully, and as we go through the things that we still must do, you'll find that each of them can be an activity that improves fitness. You can also pursue such activities. Almost everybody's got a few stairs that they can go up and down, and that can be as much of a workout as you need. It's also an opportunity just to stretch. So I guess you don't have to, quote, work out hard in order to make the most of pursuing fitness during this pause in our hectic lives.
There are a lot of misconceptions that I see, and a lot of people ask me a lot of questions regarding social distancing. And one of the questions that I had, we are in the middle of lockdown. So that means they want me to stay in-house all the time. Is that correct? And how would you take that, especially if you're an active person?
Well, I would, rather than focus on you being locked in one room, I would focus on what are we trying to prevent. If we have more than 10 people in a space, or if we have ourselves packed more closely than 6 feet apart, it's much easier for the virus, which is in the droplets of our breathing, to spread from one person to another. So the first rule is, if you stay 6 feet apart from other people, even if they cough or sneeze, you will not get the droplets on you, and disease will not be transmitted. The second part is that if they do sneeze, cough, or even talk, they can let droplets out that land on surfaces around us. So if we then go and touch that doorknob or that light switch or that handrail, we now could have some droplets of virus on our hand. That will not hurt us. It's not until we take it and actively touch our eyes or nose or mouth that the droplets can carry the virus inside of us. So we're trying to prevent the virus from getting inside. We're trying to do that by not touching our face, by washing our hands frequently, and by staying far enough apart so that the droplets don't spread to us. Now, you can do that in large numbers of areas. You can do that in your room or your home, or you can do that on the sidewalk walking or on the park trail jogging, but the same goal is in all of those places. There's no restriction on leaving your home. There's a restriction on getting too close to people who might be transmitting the virus.
So for example, our area, the local YMCA is closed. I know you were an avid swimmer, and other people, they work out at a gym where they have weight equipment. So people don't have weight equipment at home, don't have a swimming pool at home. what do you recommend for those people that are very active, and how do they able to keep up with their activities so that they keep their fitness level during this time?
Well, first of all, I think that many people don't need to keep their fitness level at this time. They can focus on becoming more aware of their bodies and the way in which they do things. How is it that I get out of a chair? How is it that I stand up when I'm talking or doing something? How is it that I go up steps? So that they can take advantage of this time of greater reflection to become more aware of themselves. But if they want to pursue an activity that will maintain their fitness and their strength, there are many, many programs on television, ranging from Tai Chi and yoga to box kicking and all kinds of other activities. But they can also just pay attention to their body, practice stretching. You don't need to put a big demand on your heart and muscles to maintain your fitness. You can work on developing more grace.
And let's take a little bit of time to talk about our immune system, because this is a very important time where we don't want our immune system to be affected and want to keep that up as strong as we can. So can you comment on what we can do in terms of diet, nutrition, and physical activity levels, and also the rest or the mindfulness, the three pillars of health and wellness, what you can do to boost the immune system to keep it at performing at its peak during this time?
I would like to take advantage of that question to try to address those issues in very simple terms. I do strongly believe that diet and exercise and rest are the three pillars of health and wellness. Let's talk about diet. The most important thing about your diet is that you have many colors in it. If you just eat one color of food, you're going to have a very hard time having a balanced nutritional intake. But if you eat green and red and yellow and carrot colored and all the colors of the rainbow, add them to your diet, you're going to have much more success in supporting your immune system. Activity should be up to the point where you are testing your limit, when you're trying to develop greater intensity. But during this break, I think it's more important for us to just exercise to keep ourselves flexible and loose and concentrate more on stretching and being aware of how graceful our bodies are and how one part moves when the other part is moving. And finally, in regards to rest, that the immune system is deeply affected by how much rest we get. Sleep is the most important part of that, but just sitting quietly and paying attention to ourselves is also a kind of rest. Some people call that meditation. Other people call it resting. Some people sing or listen to music at that time. But the point is, we're not doing, we're receiving. So those are the three things I think that we can really do to improve and maintain our immune system.
So we want to cover the overall population at the same time. So there will be people that have a tough time getting around, have arthritis, have limitations in certain joints in their body, experiencing some pain. Sitting around too long during this time and sitting at home also making it worse. So what's your recommendation for those people that have the limitation to do during this time?
Number one, this is not new. Many people have had these issues, and many people who have those issues are very clever, very smart, and have come up with ways to address it. We have all kinds of aids for physical therapy, people who need assistance in that way. But even more, I would say that right now is a good time for a person with arthritis to pay attention to that. How much motion do they have before they become stiff and start to hurt? And can they just gently approach that and then relax it, and gently approach that and then relax it, kind of finding out how much they can do. And if they do that once or twice a day for a week, they'll find they have more range of motion in almost all stiff joints. We know that warmth is important to a joint when we're trying to stretch it a little bit. But I guess the most important thing is, I'm not encouraging you to do more than you can do. I want you to be aware of what you can do. And then as you find those limits, you can test them. There's a program called Armchair Fitness available online, in which it will tell you how to do many exercises while sitting in a chair, testing your shoulder, your elbow, your wrist, testing your shoulder, your elbow, your wrist, and so on. The neck is a very important thing that very few of us pay attention to. I guess what I'm saying is if someone can run a marathon tomorrow, that's okay. Nothing about their health or COVID would prevent that, but that's not what most of us need. Most of us need to not sit too long. Nobody should sit for more than 60 to 90 minutes in a row, even if it's just getting up and moving to another chair or going to the restroom or getting a drink of water. If you need to, set your watch, but never sit more than 90 minutes in a row.
Okay, another question with this social distancing. How do you know who you should be distancing yourself from? Because, for example, if you live with your brother in the same house, do we have to be apart at least 6 feet? And what's your comment on that?
Well, my comment would be, again, what we're doing with social isolation or distancing is trying to prevent being exposed to somebody that has the droplets of the virus. We have to define a unit of people who live together. And it's very unlikely that if one of them becomes ill, that they will not spread it to the other people in the unit. So the important activity is to say that when I leave that unit, when I go out the door, I'm careful, but I never come back in without disinfecting. As soon as I come in the house, I wash my hands with soap and water. I wipe off the doorknob. I'm careful about what I touch so that I don't bring it from the outside into the unit. Now that feels funny to us. It's still a habit to reach out and grab somebody's hand when you see a friend. But we have to control ourselves right now. It's especially hard for people whose loved ones are in a different space. All hospitals and nursing homes are shut down right now, and families cannot go in and visit their loved ones who are in the building. So we have to learn other ways to reach out to them with telephone calls, face-to-face visits on the phone, email, and regular mail. It's wonderful to get a card in the mail. First thing is, who's in your social unit, and they have all the same germs you have, and it's very likely that if you get one, you're going to bring it home.
You had mentioned about now is the time to slow down, to be self-aware. So as runner, a lot of time we don't pay attention to our running form. So this is an opportunity for us to improve ourselves. So what is your recommendation on how people can do that?
Again, there are many, many ways to do it, but the point is that rather than unconsciously go from step to step, stride to stride, pay attention. Is your stride length too long? Is your rhythm right? Is your breathing in touch with your footwork? Or to put it beyond just runners, I would say that movement is the expression of our life, and we want that to be more conscious and more fun. COVID has interrupted our busy lives and given us a chance to restructure them in a way that makes our activities more deliberate rather than hurrying from one to the next.
There we go, ladies and gentlemen. That's a great take-home message from this segment that we have for you. We had talked about the 3 pillars of health and wellness. We talked about exercise, movement, and more particularly, we're discussing about the functional movement. Be aware of your movement. And this is the time where we learn the form and the function of movement. The second aspect is rest, relaxation, mindfulness. And we had discussed many aspects of that. One of the things that you just mentioned about, Dr. Greg, is the social isolation or physical distancing, but it does not have to be the mental isolation
Right.
the same way, because of course, this is the time where we need that support system. So make sure you are connected with your family, your friends, and stay connected with them going through this ordeal. The last component is nutrition, how to eat different type of food and variation of colors to bring the varieties of nutrition to your body to optimize your immune system. So it's important what we are doing right now, but also so many uncertainty for the future, at least for the near future, in the next 2 to 3, 4 weeks. There's still a chance to shut down or continue state mandate social distancing. How do you see us as a community in the general public, including the people around us? What are your recommendations moving forward if we continue where we are right now in the near future?
Well, it's a very good question, Steve, and I don't think anybody has the answer to it really. You've heard the phrase flattening the curve. It's not likely that we're going to prevent many, if not most people from getting COVID sooner or later. What makes it extremely dangerous and socially demanding is when everybody gets sick at once. So we may discontinue the lockdown, the social distancing, but it's going to be a very long time before everybody has had this virus. It's kind of like the flu. We will get a vaccine. We will get medicines that help make it milder when we catch this disease, but it's going to go on for a very long time. But until everybody in our world, our society, our community has developed immunity to that disease, it's going to keep coming round. So I think we're going to move into a new kind of time where people are more conscious about what they touch and when they touch themselves, where people are trying harder to be aware of who they're with and what they're doing.
At this time, we'd like to take the opportunity to thank all the healthcare workers out there working tirelessly, supporting the people that are sick right now. And we want to reiterate the purpose why we're doing what we're doing right now. We're trying to flatten the curve, reducing the number of people get sick at the same time so that we are not overwhelming our healthcare system. So we want to make sure you're on the same page and supporting us as healthcare workers. I also want to thank you, Dr. Greg, for your service in the community and taking the time to come on our episode here and share our knowledge to our community. Also, thank the audience for taking the time to be with us, and please send out your questions so that we can answer on the future episode. For the next few episodes, we will have the Mr. Tai Chi Guy will be with us. He will help us, giving us some exercises for us to do during this social isolation, and exercises you can do at home. And we had previous episode where we talked about functional movement. So if you missed those episodes, it will be good if you got a chance to review those again. So again, thank you very much for your time, Dr. Greg, and we're looking forward to a better future ahead of us and can't wait to be done with this social isolation.
Likewise, Stephen, I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you very much, Dr. Greg, for spending the time with us and sharing your knowledge and really helping us be more aware of ourselves. So until the next time, see you again.